Hey, what's going on? This is Kenny Mufanua from the Wildwood Podcast. Today's episode, we got Dr. Tui, who returned back to the platform. She recorded with us back in February. So shout out to Dr. Tui. Interesting thing that Wildwood is looking forward to was the conversation with her time on the TED Talk. So if you don't know what TED Talk is, we'll also post that on the link below. I encourage you to watch it because it helps us. Everyone that goes to the hospital, you ain't even got to be Polynesian. Heck, if you go to the hospital, you're somebody that, the result comes from your doctor that says, oh, you're in the borderline of obesity. Oh, you're obesity. Shit, you're a fat ass. So this episode's for you, man, because it helps encourage you and let you know what it's all about. And if you love our content and you want to support the YOs, the only way to help us is through our merchandise. I want to thank all the listeners of the YOs podcast. I thank you so much for always staying with us, giving us encouragement, and I'm excited about this one. Leave a comment below. Help us build this community because yours and Queen, man, it ain't gonna stop here, baby. So until then, I'll catch you guys at the end of the episode, man. Enjoy.
When it comes to this social media stuff, if I got you, because I'm like, oh, what do I talk about? And people, it's like I don't have anything going on. It's boring. But you know what? And then I think about the videos that I watch sometimes when I'm scrolling. It's like
Yep.
I'm just watching people eat, and I'm just watching people like, just sit and like have regular conversations with their kids or their, whatever. It's just the day to day that people want to see, I guess.
Authenticity.
Right?
And that's why when I bring people on the platform, I want you guys to be yourself. I know when you're on other limelights and stuff like that, you're putting in your professionalism, you're playing your part. But the Why Ooze podcast, our job is to make sure that we, what I'm saying, give you a platform where you can take a break and relax and be yourself.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
We should have, do you have different, and you probably do already, like different themes that you do, like when it comes to podcasts, instead of just an interviewer, but you would just have like, you know how some people have those table talks where it's like raw and it's like, okay, you just come
Yeah.
here and just say whatever, don't even worry about it.
So so that was the original way to go about it. The problem is Queen, shout out to Queen, she works for a very important company that where she cannot show her face. So her job.
I was
So
gonna ask that. It's like, when are we gonna have an interview together?
yes, it'll be
It's
next year. It'll be
that's
next
part of
year.
her contract.
It's
Yeah.
part of her contract. So,
Yeah.
it's important for us to make sure that we protect her on that part. So
Yeah. So,
while we're doing that, it's funny you said that we are. Shout out to Chef Keanu is going to be coming on, and we're going to be going ahead and do what you're talking about. Just talk shit and talk raw, and just be a podcast because that's what the people want too. They don't just
yeah.
want you great glorious people to come on to educate them. They also want to see hear why Us have to say when he's talking shit. You know what
Asao.
I'm saying?
Asao. A veces sí que hubo cancel. But that's good too, because then you're
And
gonna
like, what
attract more
cancel?
people. People are just gonna weed themselves out.
Yeah.
Fíjate, if people are like, oh, I don't know, this is not my thing. Okay, well, feel free to unsubscribe. And then you can get your own people, right? That way you get to your authentic audience, the people that resonate with you, really. So
Yeah, that's why you build a website. You build your own website. I see you
yeah,
have your new Wola website, and we're
you get your
guiding
people.
people to our website. We're not, what I'm saying, we're not relying on social media to just take care of it. We're having authentic people subscribing to our website, and that way our platform becomes our own with your own website.
That's right. Because you never know what's going to happen to these social media channels. And at least then you own your website and your content. So
There you go. And that's what
yeah.
it's all about, man. You're welcome. You're welcome.
Yeah. If you guys are ever in Washington State, please let me know. Let's go eat some food or whatever, hang
For
out,
real. And then we can be on the
you
TikTok
know.
live. You be on your social media, I'll be on mine. Fuck, I caught you, man. Like, we here
Yeah,
practicing.
I can do, I've never done a live before, but you know,
You got the
yeah.
numbers. You have the numbers on all your platforms. Shout out to old girl that you mentioned because
I know Jazz Lee. I know.
uh,
I gotta give her a call. I'm like, it's not working. I'm not, nothing's happening. I'm not doing what I'm supposed to do. Yeah, let me know if anything else comes up or if you need like a health kind of episode, whatever. Yeah,
oh
just
yeah, so we can build
shout.
our tutorial. You let me
Yeah.
know when you're available to do all that kind of stuff. Whatever channel.
Yeah. Let me reach out, Matt Queen. I think when she messaged, I was like, yeah, I can do it. And I just gave her like, these are my hours. And then she found something. I was like, oh, that was fast. So I was like, oh, good. I'm free. So let's do it. I'm
So
always happy to hear from you guys. So
oh,
yeah.
okay. Okay,
Yeah.
mga online fight, we're gonna lock that right now. We're gonna make we're gonna make you our tutorial for health advice. It'll be like Dr. Tui's health advice on the Wives podcast. But we'll
Oh,
have your own
yeah.
YouTube channel.
Oh, can you,
Oh,
if you have your audience send in questions related to health, and then maybe I can record a video answering the questions, or I don't know, however
go
you
ahead.
want to do it, and then I'll
Say that
send
one more
it to
time.
you.
Say that one more time. Look on the camera because we're about to capture it. I'm about to post that too. Hey, what's up?
I was
You
gonna
have any
say,
questions on the Wives? Ready? 3, 2, 1, go ahead.
okay, if you have any health topics or health related questions on Wayus, please send in your information to him, and then he'll pass it on to me, and then I'll be more than happy to send out any answers or responses to those questions as best as I can.
There you have it. Fucking fear guy. Well, you'll see it.
Yeah, let me know. Let me know. I think that'll be good. People just have questions, but I mean they can always Google it too, but.
No, I am a firm believer. Go go yeah. I call them the Google searchers like myself. We don't want to ask the question. We just want tutorials. We want videos. We don't want to read it. We don't want to sit through it to hear the details. Just give us the point. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's true. And even if you Google, it's just going to tell you that you're going to die soon. Or it's just like, well, I don't know if this information is valid. Like, who's this website for? Is it like some guy in his mom's basement answering health questions?
Yo,
At least you know it's coming from a credible source?
what is diaspora? Go ahead and educate. Paano sa
Yes.
mga diaspora? Actually, si Kio, laga ko. Lalo mo ka lang diaspora ka. What
Like,
is
whoa, whoa, whoa,
diaspora?
whoa, 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 whoa.
Hey, Paul, vale, man, shit. Go ahead and
No,
educate
no,
Wales,
no,
please.
no. That's right. It's just it's like a movement where if you have people that grow up in like a certain part, like you grow up on the island and then you leave that place and then you go to a different place. So for example, it's like Kapoyola American Samoa
Mm-hmm.
because we're a US territory. So the diaspora la kako is when we move to the US. So that's like Hawaii or the other states. But Upolu, for example, because they do a lot of business with New Zealand and Australia. They were under New Zealand rule for a while. Ole diaspora lako towards those countries. Olako New Zealand, Australia, and so it's just a matter of like you grow up in one place and then you go to a different place. But there's also and then you go back. You can go back home. So that's why when I was saying mukang kalayola may Samoa, may iya o nga ko fo Samoa elingi elingan we or if I gang Swiss ngan we nga
Uh,
yeah.
so how do
Yeah.
you use it in a sentence? How would
Um,
you fit that in? You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna start using that one day to my wife and say,
oh
"Think I go
yeah.
out diaspora." You know?
Yeah. So the
How would you use it? Go ahead,
diaspora,
give me an
I
example.
think I think I just use it as a noun. Like, diaspora, I just use it as like the movement or like the migration pattern. Maybe I'm using it wrong. But I don't use it as a verb. I just use it as a noun.
So how would I use
But
it?
who
She's like,
knows? Maybe I'm not to say. I don't know.
"Hey, man, let us know under the comments below, yo, diaspora, if Dr. Tui was correct about it. So, us living here in the diaspora world, is that how you say it? Or,
Yeah, I like that. I like that.
yeah.
Yeah. In our diaspora, in our, this our existence, because we can use that for each other because of, we didn't from based on where we grew up to where we are
Oh,
now.
okay. Okay, so I can be like, so Dr. Tui, because of us being in the diaspora place, how does it feel? Yada, yada, yada. Something like
That
that.
sounds good to me. Yeah, why
It
not?
works. It works. It works, yo.
Hey, as long as the meaning is conveyed and the person knows what you're asking, yeah, and then it's all good. You can use it.
Damn, man, I'm
That's
glad
still better than people butchering your name.
ah, shit. That's what's up, yo. Hey, by the way, everything that we just talked about, it's still recorded. So this is going to be all part of our podcast because this is that kind of raw
Oh God,
footage that I
Papel
was
will
searching
stop
for.
it. Papel
Wow,
will
man,
stop
hey,
the recording. Oh
you were
my
just so
God.
on point, yo. People are going to witness Dr. Tui for who
They're
she
like,
is.
wow,
She's like,
she's
wow,
not
I
very
love
good at
this
the
girl.
English language. And yet
None
she's
of us.
clowning on that poor guy for mispronouncing her name.
Shoot, I was like, when I hear
Yeah.
that, I was imagine like you got to be very famous for people to really want to pronounce your name like Troy Polamalu. You get what I'm saying?
Right? Yeah.
Like Dirk
Yeah.
Nowinski. I feel like those from the freaking European man, their last name Nowinski is a very hard, complex name to even say, even Russians. So
Yeah.
go
Oh
ahead.
yeah. For sure. No,
All right.
like that, may ngono ba? So.
Mm.
Three, two, one.
What was it? It's about 3 or 5 months now, right? For the TED Talk that you was on. How is that coming along, man? What is since that? We're jumping right to it. Have there been any new development or insights on your research for the data aggregation and identity that you'd like to share?
As far as the reception, like it's been amazing. Just the people that have messaged me and people that I know and people who, we just kind of meet through social media. So a lot of people have expressed a lot of just, gratitude. And some people are like, oh, we knew this was a thing, but it's so great to see it on this, bigger stage. So other people are aware too. And then not just that, but people that I don't know have been reaching out who they've been trying to, for example, there's this lady that reached out to me and she is in the US, but she's in the East Coast and she works for this big corporation. And then in her department, they're responsible for doing like cultural competency training. So she's been trying to kind of get them to develop like a set curriculum in order to just increase the awareness when it comes to those issues, which I think is great, as long as people are having that conversation. So just talking to different groups and with my work, not just directly with my clinic, but I
Yeah.
really try to collaborate with a lot of local groups too. A lot of Pacific Islander groups, whatever people have going on that really will promote not just cultural competency, but just health literacy, especially for our community, our people. So that's what I'm really trying to continue working on.
So Five, I spoke about cultural representation through his brand, the Island Avenue. How do you believe data practices can either support or undermine cultural identity and representations?
When it comes to things like cultural identity and representation, I mean, without having those practices in place, like we really don't have that identity. Because when you think about identity, it's, like what defines you, what makes you who you are, and not just as an individual, but like as part of a group. Like for us growing up in Samoa, we identify not just individuals, but our family, our village, even our church, even our fautasi. So we're very, community oriented people. It's like we're really motivated by belonging, right? By being a part of something, not just ourselves, but being part of something bigger than us, right? Something that lives outside of us. So when I think about cultural identity, it's so hard to kind of tease that out if they lump everyone together, right? And if people are just lumped together, it's like, well, if this group is different from this group, and kind of what I was getting to with that TED Talk was in a lot of the research data, it's always Asian Pacific Islander and just, lumped together. And even within the Asian group, like there's so many different countries, so many different populations, different languages. So I feel like, when it comes to identity, that disaggregation of data becomes really, really vital. The issues aren't being hidden, the issues are not being masked. Once you identify a specific group, it's easier to identify, not just what successes they're having, but mainly what problems people are struggling with. Because if you don't pick that up, how are we supposed to come up with solutions? So you really need to tease that out. So you said cultural identity, and then that goes along with representation. So with my field as an internal medicine doctor, it's so important to have that representation, especially when you put yourself out there and you have this wide audience, and not just audience, but just the patients that I'm seeing in clinic, for example. Like today, I saw this sweet old Samoan lady, and every time I see her, she always says, "Hey, finally, we ese for my finding out got Samoa, so so the clinic." So I'm like, "Yeah, see, I saw what, yeah," and then we can speak Samoan together. So she was just very, very grateful because that's something that she was never able to do with any of her doctors locally in Washington. Of course, when she goes back to American Samoa, bilingual, but that's something that you rarely see, especially after you leave the islands and you're here in the US. So yeah, so it's worked out pretty well.
Yeah, I know at my line of work, my 9 to 5, one of my managers, my mentor, was saying that analytic data it helps because I used to ask her, I'm like, well, why do I need to take data on these stuff when I kind of already with the experience that I have, why do I need it? Well, she said analytical data helps you make sound decisions because I mean the numbers out there. So referring to what you were saying is it is important, and I think something like that for us coconuts, we are not really in tune to recording data, especially when you know that on the TED Talk you were saying I think you said like 0.1% of us my Polynesians that are in the medical field to
Mm-hmm.
understand
Such a small number.
it's mind blowing, and like I mentioned before on our previous talk, I mean, it doesn't affect an individual until they're actually affected by it to care even about the matter and stuff. So kudos to you, and I'm hoping that it does change because I don't. When you share send that out to us, the YOs to share that out. I wish we had such a bigger platform for the Polynesian, just not Polynesian, but also those that are in a community that doesn't have the resources and information to understand because it really is tiring going in and the first answer you get as a Polynesian person is, oh, you're in the area of obesity or just anything like that. It, it sucks. So we're really grateful for you in this realm. As you mentioned before too, there's a lot of Polynesian doctors out there, but as far as for the Waius, the only ones that I've seen and met was you. So kudos to you for that. But anyways, let's get back to it. What parables do you draw between entrepreneurship and advocacies in terms of facing challenges and creating a lasting impact?
Yeah, so when it comes to entrepreneurship, I mean that being a physician, so majority of my schooling, my training has just been, to become a doctor. So for me to then make that switch from being employed to now being an entrepreneur, basically, right? So owning your own business, and then being able to run that, I feel like that has definitely come with its own challenges.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, oh, I didn't go to business school. Like, how do you do all the things, right? So, but I've also learned that that is something really that you could a lot of it you have to kind of seek out the help, and it really does help to know people who are already doing it. So I think that for me I was fortunate enough to be like in touch with these networks of other doctors who are already doing the physician entrepreneurship thing. So being able to tap into them as a resource has been amazing. But when you say, creating a lasting impact, when I think about my business with Neola Health, it's, as a physician, it's like, well, you go to work, you see your patients, and you try your best to empower them and give them like the knowledge in order to really, just improve their health and wellness, just in the long run. But as far as with a business, like I really want to get to a point where, not just helping people in this kind of in-person setting, but utilizing and tapping into like technology, right? So the way that you and I are speaking today,
Hmm.
being able to reach people that way too, just kind of promoting health education and just wellness and the ability to just talk more about even just cultural competency. So all those different issues that really affect us as a Polynesian community. So, but I'm starting small too, and I feel like I'm still kind of at that stage. So that's why I'm so thankful for platforms such as yours that will, just allow my voice that will otherwise, be locked in this box to just kind of get out there and reach more people. Um, because that's how you can really make a lasting impact is to get out of your existing, because me in Washington State, because of my medical license, I can only see patients in Washington and in Hawaii. But the question is, well, how do I reach a bigger audience?
Yeah.
Is I think through utilizing technology, but also, tapping into your networks and getting to know other people and just be open to collaboration, which I'm sure is something that, you have been doing and continue to do. So I think tapping into those networks, and eventually grow it to a place where it does become something that's much bigger than I am, where,
Yeah.
people will just know, and then they're empowered because of the knowledge, right? So that's the big issue, is how do you get the knowledge out there to people? So
And then going back to that TED Talk, what unexpected reactions or feedback did you receive from your TED Talk that broadened or challenged your perspective?
unexpected reactions.
Yeah.
Oh, so here's a good one. Um, so they left it on, but when the guy was introducing me, so that guy
I wanted to
butchered
be like,
my name.
City, you funny, man. How do you go?
That
But,
guy butchered my name. It was funny because so when he was introducing me, I was backstage and we can't really hear anything. So I was backstage with this lady, and then she's like, "Okay, when I tell you to go, you go." And I'm like, "Okay." So they were getting me mic'd up, and it was in a back room. So then she's like, "Okay, now you're on." So I literally like, walk up the stairs, walk up the flight of stairs, and then they open the door, and then I'm on stage. So I was kind of
mhm.
like in the floor below, I guess. But when I go out there, like people were like, "Yay!" And I'm like, "Okay, great." And then I just do my thing. And then afterwards, I went with Siouso o Langaingo o Nan o Nani Kim. So she was there with me. She was my support. And I was like, "How was it?" And then she was like, "You were amazing, but Fialakoi, Kiki." I was like, "What? What are you talking about? What do you mean?" So, and then she had told me that when the guy was introducing me, like he completely, just kind of butchered the name. And so the reaction that I got from a lot of people is, well, I didn't expect it because I didn't realize that there was even something that happened before the speech. But that really does go to show, there's so many names that are, quote unquote, so hard to pronounce. But for this particular situation, so he had actually like wrote the name down. I even wrote out like the
Yeah.
the spelling and the
The
pronunciation.
process. Yeah.
And then he practiced it. And then I'm like, oh my gosh, he still butchered it. But I thought that was a great intro as like a segue into my talk, right? Because it's like, come on, guys,
Good example.
this is the kind of thing that we're talking about. And that's why when they say to us, like when people mispronounce your name, like it's okay to tell them like, hey, this is how you say it. Or if they call
Yes.
you something else that's not your name, be like, well, I don't know who you're talking about because that's not my name. This is my name and this is how you say it. So don't be afraid to like advocate for yourself and just tell people. And I'm sure you have a story. So many of us have a story about people just butchering our names.
No, I know. That's why I started promoting my name, Kenny Mofanua, because
There you go.
Mofanua, you hear it's like you hear Moafana or Mafafana, and I'm just like, dude, I got to the so used to like being okay with it that like you mentioned, it's not okay to let people know, like, no, you need to pronounce my name correctly. If I'm gonna take the time out to learn English,
Yeah.
then I expect you to do the same thing. You know what I'm saying? Doesn't matter what
Yeah.
field that you're in. It's a good one. That's a good one.
No, I
Uh,
like that. I like that. And you're right. Mofanua, like if you think about it, like that's
mhm.
not even hard to pronounce. It's not like some of these European names that we have to learn and it's just, that's the least people could do. Least people could, especially if you're telling them like or if they say, "Hey, can I call you Moa, Mr. Moa?" It's like, "No.
Yes.
No." Like why are you shortening it? I prefer to go by my name, which and this is my full name and that's how
Mhm.
that's what you like to be called.
Yeah. Before I used to always feel like, say, why are we being difficult? But no, it's just a lack of understanding that this is why our forefathers in America stood for what they believed in. So even for us Samoans, we have to have that same mentality, to stand up
Mhm.
for who you believe or for your beliefs, whatever that is.
Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Have you been featured on other podcasts and platforms? How has the receptions or questions different between them and the YOO's podcast?
Yeah, so Wayus, I think you're like one of my earlier, earliest ones, which I think is amazing. I mean, I love when the podcasts speak to me just outside of me just being a doctor. So like on your podcast, you were asking about like upbringing and that kind of thing, which I love to talk about, right? And I feel like depending on the podcast, it's like there's always and not to badmouth anyone else's podcast, but podcasts are there for a reason. Is to kind of promote the person you're interviewing, but also just
Correct.
the platform and making sure that you're speaking to the audience directly and whatever issues or topics that really pertain to them and how it's relevant. But I always appreciate your podcast because I feel like you're speaking to me again as a whole person and not just like me as a physician, but like, oh, what are you doing in the community? What are you, as far as like my TED Talk, like people don't really ask about my TED Talk because it's not necessarily relevant to the mission of the podcast. So hey, thank you for letting me talk about things outside of just the doctor world.
Well, I mean, like I said, why Uzi is going to be the next Samoan Joe Rogan. And, doing my own data research, it's very important to cover questions that intriguing to the audience. So little that I know, sometimes Queen tells me like, you need to ask these questions. And in my head, I'm like, it's boring to me. It's just because it's not relevant at that moment. But to little that I know of after watching the data is like, oh wow, a lot of these questions. It's stop being naive. You know what I'm saying? So it's just
Queen
start.
knows.
Queen. No, shout out to Queen.
Just listen to her.
Well, the Samoans, right? You have brothers. I mean, stuff
Oh
that we
yeah,
like,
three
topics that
brothers.
we like, it's not
Exactly.
relevant to the women. You know what I'm saying? To
Right.
you guys,
Bring more women. Bring more women
yeah.
participation.
So
No,
I
that's
mean, I'm
exactly
trying.
right.
Yeah. So storytelling was a major theme in Five Eyes' journey. How crucial is storytelling in your advocacy for better data practicing and identity recognition?
I love storytelling,
Mm.
and I think everyone really who grew up in a Polynesian culture, right? So not just Samoa, because our language, right? That's how it's been passed on. It's a lot of oral history. So I feel like growing up in Samoa, the time that we did, because we're kind of around the same age, right? Where we didn't have cell phones, there was like no internet. So a lot of the things that we did was we would just get together and we would just talk, right? And then we'd, tell stories and we'd hear it, fangongo, or just
Yes.
telling jokes. So I feel like that was such a big part of me growing up. And now that I'm in this different role, like with my career, I feel like when it comes to storytelling and learning about patient stories and then just kind of weaving in the education. And that's why I like what I do because I'm not in the hospital. I do primary care, so I'm mainly in the clinic. Part of really why I went into primary care is well, like seriously. Like I love, and I used to get in trouble for this when I was in med school when I was training because I would take too long with the patients because I would just sit there and then I would just chat and chat, but not just chat. Like I would love bouncing, just going back and forth, having that dialogue with patients and just learning about them and their life story because I want to know a person just outside.
Ladies and gentlemen, you're probably wondering what the heck just happened. Dr. Tui, we had some technical difficulties, but we're back. We're back, guys. The question was, just to refresh your mind, was storytelling was a major theme in Five Eyes' journey. How crucial is storytelling in your advocacy for better data practices and identity recognition? Now, you were just to fast forward. You were talking about a story that when you're at the hospital and you're like hollering. Carry
Yes,
on.
yes. So I'm a big faikala. But that's part of what makes me a good doctor because then in order for you to figure out what's going on with your patient you have to know like what questions to ask them and follow-up questions and then that leads to more questions and that leads to more dialogue and so I mean, that's always how I've been. I've just been curious. And that's probably why, again, I went into primary care because I get to spend a lot more time with my patients. I learn their stories. I learn a lot more about them just outside of their disease, right?
Mm.
So, and being in the clinic allows me to do that because I get to see them again, like at their follow-ups. And when I was in the hospital working as a hospitalist, like I couldn't do that. They come in, they get hospitalized for whatever it is, for pneumonia if it's really bad. And then once they get better, I never see that person again. So I don't have that continuity with them. I don't get to see how their story plays out. So yeah, so I think that's what I was getting at with the whole Faikakala thing and
And
learning about patients and with
the
the
important
story.
of storytelling, correct. So
That's
can you
right.
go ahead and share it with the coconuts? Mas kakofang that you remember back in the
Oh my
days, your
gosh.
go-to one. What's your go-to one? You can even say it in Samoan too.
Oh
Get it?
my gosh. I don't know if it's whaongongo. It's more like mobuka, but that's not it's not for public consumption, you know?
Why? Oos? Go
That'll be
ahead.
a different podcast, bro. Mobuka baleale mangua. So we'll save that one for we'll table that one for later.
Well, there you go, ladies and gentlemen. You know what I'm saying? Not just she's just Dr. Tui, she's also had her up and coming time. You know what I'm saying? Before she became a doctor. But anyways, could you share a memorable or challenging moment in your advocacy journey since we last spoke and how you overcame it?
As you know, right? So we're both born and raised in American Samoa.
684,
I
baby.
really, that's right. That's right. 684, Samoana Sharks. I know you went to a different high
Kafuna
school, but that's
Warriors, yes,
okay. That's
sir.
okay. But so I've been really trying to um, reach out to American Samoa and just get, get in touch with the right people so I can offer medical services there. So I think that's been, and I don't know if we touched on it last time. I don't believe so, but
We
you
haven't,
know,
and that's a good thing you're bringing that up because you know what I'm saying?
yeah,
American Samoa, we coming for you.
that's right. That's right. And it's because people, like if people see the TED Talk or they see that, oh, hey, I could go see the Samoan doctor, I can relate to her and she can relate to the struggles that I'm going through, that
Yeah.
kind of thing. And then we would be on social media just chatting, right? So until we get to a point where it's like, oh, but where are you? They're like, oh, I'm in American Samoa. I'm like, oh, I can't practice outside of, Washington State and Hawaii. And then they're like, oh, or I would get messages saying that, oh, that's great, but you're in Washington. Like, when are you gonna come help us in American Samoa? And then it's like, well, I've been trying for like more than a year to kind of break through and reach the right people. So if someone is listening and they know how to get that, how to get through to the right people to get that done, I would love to know. And I've talked to different people, but I feel like it's been difficult. And I know that there's a lot going on back home right now too with the election, and so I know people are busy, but if I could get to the right people and then knock on that right door, that way we could bring telemedicine services. And I know that they are already getting services, but just not from private practitioners, right? Or just, like people like me who have certain certifications, would love to collaborate, more than willing to do this, but it's just a matter of getting permission from the right people. So that's kind of really been my big barrier because I don't want to feel like a hypocrite either, talking
Yeah.
about all things Pacific Islander, Polynesian, Samoa, but it's at the same time, it's like, even though I'm not living there, I definitely am helping the local community, but how do I get that help actually, just feet on the ground, boots on the ground on the rock? So that's really what I want to have happen soon, soon.
Okay, so we have your information. I do have some family members that are plugged for within that stuff. Shout out to my uncle Lolo Molinga, who used to be the governor.
Oh, there
Yes,
you
sir.
go. There
But
you
yes,
go.
we'll pass you on the information. See, it helps you just talk about it. So that was my question because I was gonna ask you like, cuz you
Yeah.
You helping out what about our people back home in American Samoa? Because
I know. That's the thing.
I felt well,
Eh,
it's not that we don't want to help our people back home in the island, specifically in American Samoa. It's like, does it feel? I just felt like, are there gatekeepers? Are there people in place in those high places that are blocking us, that already have these connections with, like, I'm sorry to say, that are not Samoans? Kokelelo, Senga, Kokelelo, Ishika Kavoya, like Samoa, like Palani Inkias, that are sitting in these high places in American Samoa board for the medical side. But
Mm,
don't see Samoans. So I was just wondering
mm.
if you knew something about that, which now we know that doctor does not know about that. So we need to help her get it healed because
I
that's what I
know.
think our generation is actually asking those questions. Because my wife's cousin, who it's been viral on TikTok, talking about like for the senators that are sitting, how is it that they can just sit there for so long in the same seat instead of
Eh,
making it like a terminal thing, 4 years, just like governors? Why are these
Yeah,
senators still there?
yeah,
So the political side, which we do not promote at the White House platform, it's just something that we like to talk about every now and then for
yeah.
people who know about it.
Yeah. No, that's awesome. And I think you're exactly right. And we don't, not to get into the weeds of it, but just, in general, it's
Yeah.
always good to have fresh blood, fresh ideas. I may say, when you think about the diaspora, like people like you and me growing up and then coming here, but there are also a lot of people just moving back home. And I've heard from just personal, just friends, right? And colleagues, "Ewak sa moa e lingi," there's either no positions or
Yeah.
they don't, it's a lot harder to move up, which is sad because a lot of the people, at the same time, like people would want to stay in for a while. And I can see why, if they can continue to do the job, that's good. But at the same time, again, it's good to have some new ideas and fresh blood and to kind of, you know, mix it up and not to add extra, not to really just change things up. But I think new perspectives will only help,
To
new
better
perspectives.
to better our country, our island.
Yeah,
That's all we're
yeah. As
talking
long
about.
as we have that goal, right? Same goal. The end goal for anything is to just improve the current state. If we can improve upon it by bringing in a different perspective, then why not? Why not? And then back to the telemedicine thing, I think that it's always been something that like there historically in my experience, I mean, I don't want to speak on anyone's behalf. Like historically in
Mhm.
my experience, I feel like there's always been resistance to telemedicine when it comes to people outside of Samoa trying to get in to practice. So I'm hoping that's something that'll change because I feel like we as a small island, we need all the help we can get, especially if people are trying to offer those services. So
Now, is that why? So now you're touching tough grounds because I mean I believe that's probably why Vivek Ramaswamy stepped down from the running of the presidency. Pharmaceutical and companies, those big leagues, is somebody that I believe they're really tough to deal with. I think one of those things, it's just one of them stigmas that, I could be naive or I'm just my personal opinion. You know what I'm saying?
yeah.
Ain't nothing about it, but that's probably why, cuz. It's probably why.
Yeah, I know. It's hard. It's hard. It's that and then I don't mean to perpetuate stereotypes, but it really is who you know. Especially
There
if
you
you're from
go.
a small place, small island. It really does matter. It really does matter. So, if people want to continue the status quo, if you want to change the status quo, just go out and vote. That's all I'll say.
There you go. There you go. And last question that we have for the doctor here. What advice would you give to the listeners who wants to advocate for better data representation and practices in their own communities?
Wherever you are, right? So if you're within your workplace, not just with work or with in your community, if you see something that doesn't really relate to you completely, or if you see yourself misrepresented at all, I think that's really where it starts. Just, bring it up and point it out. especially to the people, or if you know the people who's creating these data collection, either it's a survey or whatever it is. Usually the surveys, there's always like some kind of feedback, right? At the end, like, oh, is there any feedback that you'd like to give us? I feel like that's really where it starts. Because it's hard to kind of make changes, like big systemic changes, but in order to get there, you have to start somewhere. So focus on the things that are within your control. So the things that you deal with on a day-to-day. And that was pertaining to your question about, like, the data representation and that kind of thing, the way that data is collected.
There you go, coconuts. You heard it here from the Wahoos, from the doctor herself, and all her great advice and wisdom passed among us, even though she's from the Samoan shark.
But I did go to Tafuna Junior High, so
Oh, talk heavy, yo.
Maulele, right? Manulele Tausala.
I'm
There
with
you go.
Tosala, man. Yeah, for those that don't, nothing. No, that's the only questions I had, man. Besides the professional questions, at least, you know. And how's your social media world coming along? Because I see every time I see you, I'm like, damn, man, Dr. Tui will really do really good in social media if she really just to take more time, put more energy into it, man. Have you thought about anything like that?
I'm terrible at social media. Okay, so
You'll be surprised.
I did have an amazing social media team. That's when I was posting so consistently.
Yeah.
And then I decided to take a break because I was doing some other things. And then my thing just went really silent. So if you have any good tips for me on how to keep going
Sis, all you
or
got to
what to
do,
make content on,
your
it's just
phone. Your phone. I got great tips for you. You turn on your phone.
ah,
You turn on your phone and you let them know what you're doing. Like when you go, are you still doing the whole walking? Is that still going on? Is that what is it,
oh,
Saturday or Sunday?
we're
How
gonna
you be like,
restart in January.
yeah,
In January.
update
Yeah.
everybody on that kind of stuff. Just
Okay.
turn on your phone, especially on TikTok. So I mean, for some reason, TikTok is and be so authentic about it because your phone, your quality of your phone is great. Give a little tip
Mm.
of the day. Hey, good morning, it's Dr. Toy. Starting our day off today. Have a good day, and just little stuff like that. Just
Get
little
ready
stuff
with
like
me
that.
video.
Get ready with me video, or
Okay.
like experience, and just stay to yourself because you're always promoting positivity, and you're an entrepreneur, dude. You made like, I mean, shoot, you don't even talk about people about that. Like right now, when you get up, hey, what's up, guys? I just got off the podcast with Brother Kenny from the Wild podcast. Check it out; it's coming out this week. Little shit like that helps.
Oh, maybe I'll do that. Yeah.
Yeah, every
If you
time.
have like because you do a great job promoting that, right? So you
Mhm.
have like a little snippet. So maybe once something like that is available, and then I can do a video and then link it back to or link it to that
Yeah,
like your YouTube or whatever it is. So no, I'm terrible with social media. So I'm trying to be better. Maybe I need to have my team back. I was trying to see if I can do it on my own. Obviously, I cannot. I have like 1,000 things going on, but people are always saying you don't need to spend so much time. If you have your phone, you can just start recording, but
you
maybe
record
I'm
it and
I'm
you do it
too much in
yourself.
my head. Yeah,
No,
yeah.
no, you're right though. You do need a media because your appearance is great. If it's in your budget to do it, I advise you to do it because that's where me and Queen is heading towards. We are hiring for a team
Mm,
to help build our podcast, our platform. You do need a
yeah,
team. So if it's nothing that you're good at, and if it's because of a budget reason for that time being, something to
yeah.
look into because you don't want to kill your subscriber,
Momentum.
your momentum
Yeah,
is
you're
here
right.
right now. This is your year. You got to build on that. So, I mean,
Yeah,
you got to just ask yourself that,
yeah.
is it worth investing in that? Obviously, it
I
is
love
because
that.
the data you just mentioned, the analytics shows, it
You're
shows.
right. You're right.
Drop a file move for the Wild Ooze podcast, baby.
That's right. So shout out to Jazz. So she is with Pacifica Socials, and she was the one I was working with her team for
Okay.
those couple months, and that's probably like the best engagement my social media has ever had. And that was over this summer. And then over the past 2 months or so, just because I'm doing it on my own and there's like nothing coming out. So So I may have to give Jazz another call, but she's in Utah and she runs yeah, she's an entrepreneur too.
Yeah.
And she's Pacific Islander, female owned, and she and her team did an amazing job. So I may be giving her another call.
And then send us to the link too, sis, so we can call her too to see if this if it's in within our budget too, because we are looking
Oh yeah.
to expand and push it out there. Because yeah, me and Queen does it by ourselves.
Oh, it's
We're very
hard. It's
proud.
hard.
Yeah, I
It's
mean, you
hard.
see,
But that's amazing. If you've been able to do all of this and it's just the two of you,
yeah,
that's really amazing. Yeah, but it's like they say, it's like, you hire to, I mean, sure you expand your team, but you also hire to free up your time. So
yeah,
imagine like all the freed up hours and things that you could have doing, producing more content or coming up with more ideas, versus, spending the hours just doing all the social media, which is important. And yeah, I need to get on that. So you have inspired me. And you pointed it out that, we need the engagement. So
yeah,
I got
and the
to get back
network.
to that.
Yeah, and we
It's
plan
worth
to.
it.
Even if you got our number, hit us up. You put out your video if you want me to go ahead and flip it for you and post it on our stuff. Because I just learned, shout out to Savannah. Shout out to Savannah who showed us the whole thing about collaboration on Instagram. You know what I meant? But
Oh,
so shout out to Savannah for
see,
collaborating.
Jazz did something like that. And she would
Yeah.
add people to collaborate with your video. And then she
Yes.
says and then it becomes their video. So, but I don't know how to do that. So she did that for some of my videos.
Yeah, and we're gonna do that with ours, and we'll always
Okay.
communicate. I'll be like, "Hey, sis, yeah, hurry up and still waiting
I
for you to
know. If
approve."
I don't respond, it's because I don't know how to do it.
Don't feel bad. Trust me, man. We're in the same boat.
We can figure it out. We can
Yeah.
figure it out. So,
But
okay.
we are looking forward to collaborating, continuously collaborating with you. You have us as a white house,
Thank
like
you,
a
bro.
shout out to your husband. We do it because we like to put a spotlight to our community. But all after talking to like Five Eye, uh, we want to diversify. We want to reach out to the masses. We don't want to just keep it within. That's something that I believe that you can attest to too, right? It didn't just take Polynesians to help you to get to where you're at, right? Can
Oh,
you
yeah. Yeah. You got to reach out to,
different
whoever is in
ethnicities?
your network. Yeah.
There you go.
Lean on those connections. Yeah, you're right.
Let me just be blunt with you. Have you even checked out
Yeah.
any of our episodes? Do you follow the White House podcast? That I could always do a spotlight.
I I have followed maybe the earlier episodes, but
Mm.
to be honest, I haven't even not just yours, but I haven't been on social media much unless I am just uploading a video.
Hey, that's
So,
good.
but I
That means you're making money, baby.
no.
That means you're making moves when you're not on social media, baby.
No,
That's
I
what she's
need
talking
to.
about, yo.
That's why it's so quiet and there's no engagement. So I need to be active. I need to, comment on other people's things, collaborate, like you said. But I really haven't been, yeah. The past 2 months have just been doing other things and some personal things too, like with my family, people getting sick and but making the time, putting that in your schedule to focus on the business, and that includes the social media component. So
But you know what though? I gotta be honest. Every guest host that's been on the White House podcast, entrepreneurs, you guys don't have big followers, and it's because you guys are actually making big moves, and that's why we like to bring you guys on the platform to educate not only my children but everybody else's kids and adults that you can always make an impact and make a change in your life if you're not happy in your current situation. So, don't feel bad that you're not always on here. That means you're making big moves. And eventually, when the White Oos make it, you'll be all right because we'll be the one always advertising you and everybody else that's on the White Oos platform. You know
that's
what I'm
that's
saying?
amazing. You're gonna make it. You're making it. You're doing it. You're living it. And I love that. And we need more of that. Because how else are people, it's so hard. Like if it weren't for platforms like yours, I don't even think I would be getting the word out there effectively on my own. I really wouldn't. And that's part of increasing your visibility, right? Is to go on other people's platforms and vice versa. I've been planning a podcast on my own, but I know how I am and I'm not consistent. So I've been putting it off. So if ever that happens, you are going to be on there. So,
Got you.
so
Like,
I will keep you updated on
man,
that.
that is too easy. Your phone is your friend. for the coconuts, because I will be bringing out tutorials for YouTube of how to become a podcaster with only
Ah.
$20. There you go.
Ah, oh, I want to see that video. Yeah, because I have my phone and now you've made me feel self-conscious about using
Yep.
my camera because it's not that great. You're right. So just use the phone. I just need to have one of those phone holders. That way I don't have to hold it with my hand.
Yep. And TikTok tells them all. I'm not gonna call them out until I get affiliated with them. I'm just
That's right.
messing around, yo. Good
That's
talking to you, doctor. You know,
always a pleasure. Always a pleasure. You know, say hi to Queen. I know I've been getting the messages and the emails. So
you're good, man. And yes, not only that, when you on your next rodeo that you go out, let us know because we would love to be your media over there to come and pop up. You know what I'm saying, and put
oh,
out the word, especially on our TikTok live because we do get 10,000 live people tuning into it. So I'm
oh,
not
that's
ain't trying to
awesome.
brag, but that's something.
That's awesome. That's something, you know, I like for my audience and my engagements, you know, when it comes to a live, I don't even think I've ever done a live. So
Yeah.
there's that.
And you just get on. You don't have to prep like everybody else. I mean, look at Smack. I know you follow Smack, right? Do you know who Smack is? I'm gonna
Yeah.
laugh if you don't.
I follow a lot of people, but then I'm not like, you know, I'm not on there like
No, I know,
watching.
I know. Say he's one of the Samoan Brad Pitt. Uh, look, I'm gonna let my Macaulay make sense, Ali man. He's the Samoan recruiter. He from American Samoa. Him and the other Uso on Mose.
Oh,
They be on
but the
that TikTok.
guy, I think I've seen a video. He's like in a golf cart
Yeah,
or
yeah,
something.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
And then he was eating a sandwich and
That's
then he
Smack.
didn't like his oh yeah, okay. Yes,
That's
I've seen
Smack.
his videos.
That's
Yeah,
Smack,
he's
man.
funny. He's
Uh,
funny.
You can do something like that yourself. Seriously. You know what I'm saying? Turn on your phone, boom, send it out. You know what I mean? And when you make it, if you need a media, if you want to hire media people, don't forget the YOs. You know what I'm saying?
That's right. That's right. If you create like a social media marketing company side gig, let me know. Let me
Oh,
know.
damn. I never thought of that one. You know what I'm saying? I just been connected with everybody. They've been giving me ideas. And I'm like, oh, okay. I didn't know I could go that realm. All right, I'll look into it. You know,
Yeah.
shoot. But
Why
yeah,
not? Add it to the list.
there you
Doesn't
go.
hurt to try it. Yeah, why
Yeah.
not?
Thanks for tuning into the YOOS podcast episode. Don't forget to check out our website at www.yoos.com. It's because of you that we can keep this going. Thank you in advance. See you on the next one. And I'm YOOS.
And I'm Dr. Tui.
We out, baby.
Apple's got the vibe, hit record, press play. Live on TikTok, streaming all the way. YouTube, Facebook, we're here to stay. Tales of the hustle, dreams come alive. Building the future, watch them strive. YOOS.